gonna start with the so namaste, friends. Thank you for joining us today on Karunamayi Holistic Platform with Saniya Godbole, who is a Bharat Natyam teacher, and she is a master's in fine arts from Sastra University in India. And she is a wonderful Bharatanatyam dancer. Bharatanatyam is an Indian classical dance which has a full historical trail about its origin and not about its evolution. And it's a very sophisticated dance. It requires a lot of concentration of mind, and also um, it's um, it's very elegant and it's very beautiful. So I would be happy to welcome our professional from Bharatanatyam classical dance, Saniya Godbole, for having having to do this webinar with us to give us an introduction of what Bharatanatyam is to people who may not know about it, about its origin and what are the basics of Bharatanatyam. And she will also give a highlight on our upcoming course on Karunamayi Holistic Platform on Bharatanatyam dance. So stay tuned, and I look forward to learning a lot more from Saniya today. And if you have any questions, you can ask her at the end. So thank you, Saniya. I'm going to put you on spotlight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting me to this webinar. I'll begin with the introduction to the Indian classical dance form, Bharatanatyam. Bharatanatyam is one of the oldest Indian classical dance forms, which is rooted in a southern state of India, that is Tamil Nadu. It is originated in Tamil Nadu. It has a history of many, many centuries, and it is very rich in its aesthetic and cultural value. Bharatanatyam the history of Bharatanatyam has basically three phases. The first phase of Bharatanatyam is the Devadasi community phase. Basically, Bharatanatyam or all the Indian classical dance forms have the origin in the fifth Veda, which is called as Natya Shastra. But historically, if we look into the historical traces, we can find that Bharatanatyam was quite a rich dance form in the Devadasi communities in Tamil Nadu. So this community, the women of that community used to perform Bharatanatyam in different temples in South India. Those women were taught by the men Natuvanas from the same community. And those women were supposed to be married to the god or the goddess from Hindu religion. So this is how the tradition of Bharatanatyam had started. Those dancers used to perform regularly as the seva to the gods and goddesses in the South Indian temples. After which, in the second phase, the dance form moved to the courts of the kings who used to rule the South Indian states at that point in India. The kings used to give the patronage to all the classical dancers. So they used to call the dancers in the courts to perform in front of them. And this is how the transition of Devadasi Attam, like Dasi Attam, to Sadir, the second given name to this form, had happened. During Sadir, there were four Natuvanas who also developed a specific path, a specific chronology in which the compositions in Bharatanatyam used to be performed. After this period of court performances, during the British rule, the Devadasi Act it came into practice, and the Dasi tradition was quite abolished from the Indian tradition. But there were dancers like Rukmini Devi Arundel and a lawyer who was known as E. Krishna Iyer. They came together and they worked really hard to revive Bharatanatyam. At that point of time, different women from all the castes and classes came together to perform Bharatanatyam with the efforts of Rukmini Devi Arundel, and the form moved finally to the auditoriums. And now we can see that it is at the height of its glory, and everybody, many people are learning Bharatanatyam in India and abroad also. Bharatanatyam is not now only situated in South India, South Indian states of India, but it is also there propagated very well in Maharashtra, in North Indian states like Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, and more. So this was a long journey of the form in Indian tradition. There are two specific aspects of Bharatanatyam which I would like to talk to you about. The first aspect of Bharatanatyam is Nrita. I will just introduce you that part. Nrita, which is basically the pure body movements which come under this form. There are a few. There are a few postures. This is called as Arai. This is called as full seating or Murumandi. Postures like these are used with the use of the legs, and there are different geometric hand movements like these, which create beautiful patterns in the space. And the rhythmic part is there, which is supported by the feet. So this is how the nrita, the movement part, is designed in the technique of Bharatanatyam. The vibrancy of the form comes from the nrita part in Bharatanatyam. On the other hand, abhinaya is the soul of the form. Abhinaya is basically to emote something, to take the audience towards something. So in Bharatanatyam, there are two interesting parts of abhinaya. There are in technique there are four, but we can talk about the two forms, two aspects of abhinaya today. One is the hand gestural language, which is created with the hands to show different things. For example, there are many single hand gestures, and there are double hand gestures like these, which are used to show different things. For example, if you want to show the reins, the pataka hasta is used. If you want to show a crown, Pataka hasta is used. If you want to show a leaf, Ardha Pataka hasta is shown. If you want to show a peacock, we use Mayura hasta. So like that, we use different hand gestures to show a few things which are there in a specific song or compositions which is performed in Bharatanatyam. Along with that, a major part of Abhinaya comes with the Mukhaja. That is, your face, your eyes, your smile, your expressions speak the language of that song. They emote the emotion that is there in that particular song in Bharatanatyam. So this is how Abhinaya and Nrita come together to form a beautiful language, which is known as Bharatanatyam. Uh, now, there is one very interesting, our teachers have been telling us all the time that Bharatanatyam or any dance form is basically visual music. That means music helps the dance form to get to create any beautiful aesthetic experience for the audiences. So music is extremely important as it is to any other dance forms. It is also important for Bharatanatyam. Since the Bharatanatyam was originated in Tamil Nadu, Carnatic classical music is there to support the form. The whole tradition is rooted in Carnatic classical system. Um, on vocals, it is surely Carnatic classical singing, along with which the rhythmic aspect of the form is done with mridangam or ghatam or khanjira, and mursing is there sometimes, along with which the flute, violin, veena are there to support in the melodic aspect of the music. There are many compositions written traditionally in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Marathi, different languages by beautiful, uh, by rich poets who have written these beautiful compositions, and they have been used in the form for many, many years. So this is the basic introduction to the form. Um, Now, I would like to tell you a very interesting fact about any dancer. Uh, when a dancer is using her or his body to create any movement, we know that our body is the only tool that we have, along with music and the space and everything is there. But the main tool of performance is our body. So as we tune any other instrument before playing it, we definitely as dancers tune our bodies before the performances. So before we get into the actual performance mode, before I introduce you to the different aspects of the technique uh, in this webinar, I would like to show you a few warm up exercises that we do before our class. Okay, so I will start with the head rotation. It goes like a complete rotation to, then we'll do the sides, up and down. From head to toe, we'll go like this. Then we'll start with the shoulders. We'll open up every muscle. There are different exercises, but I won't be able to show all the exercises because of the time constraint, obviously. We'll do the hand rotation, creating a complete circle with my hand to open up the muscle. Then this part of the body. Then we'll lift the legs to open it from the hip muscle. And after that, we'll do an important exercise, which is the butterfly exercise, to open up the legs properly in order to sit in Araimandi, which I just showed you. Like this, there are a few exercises which we do religiously before every class so that our body is ready to do different movements. After which, I would like to show you a small prayer which we say all the time before we start the class. Angikam bhuvanam yasya vachikam sarvavangmayam aharyam chandrataradi tam namah satvikam shivam Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The prayers are dedicated to our gurus, the teachers who have been teaching us for many, many years, and the Lord Shiva, who is known as the Lord of Dance in Indian tradition. So, after these prayers, I would like to introduce you the alphabets of Bharatanatyam, which are called as adavus and the hand gestures. So, the first adavu, before we start the adavu, I would like to show you how we sit in a Ramandi position in this form. So you can keep any right or leg, left foot like this. Turn the heel and sit in half seat position, keeping the shoulders at the back. The center of your knee has to be in line with the center of your foot, and then you have to sit straight. So this is the basic position of Bharatanatyam, which is called as Araimandi Ayata half seat. There are different names to it. So the first alphabet, the first type of movement that is introduced to any of the student are the different adavus. Adavus are the set of movements which are used to weave different movement patterns in any composition. So the first adavu is called as tatta adavu. Tatta adavu is a very simple adavu that we do. The first step of it is tai, ya, tai, tai, ya, tai. So it is just the beginning, the first step. The way we move our feet in Aramandi is it is taught in this step. The second step, the second adavu, is known as natta adavu, in which we actually move our feet outside of the structure that is created and is called as Aramandi. So when we sit, we open up our foot and close it. So tai, yum, tat, tat, tai, yum, tam, tai, yum, tat, tat, tai, yum, tam. So with this leg movement, we have different hand movements which are there. For example, the first step of Nattavadu is done with this movement of the hands. The second is just the double of the first step, whereas the third is tai yum tat tat tai yum tam tai yum tat tat tai yum tam. So you can see that there is layering of movement. The movement gets a little difficult, but interesting, of course, as you proceed. Then there are other hand movements like this, which are used for different adavus. There are a few hand gestures which are used in the hand movements to reach out from the space you are in, like this. So, this is how we use hand and body movements to create beautiful geometrical patterns in the space. Now, I would like to introduce you the hand gestures, the single hand gestures, which are used in Bharatanatyam, which are from Abhinaya Darpana, a basic book of hand gestures from 13th century. So these are the single hand gestures, which are called as asanyukta hasta. Pataka, tripataka, ardhapataka, kartarimukha, mayurakyo, ardhachandrashcha, aral, shukatunda, mushti, shikhara, kapithya, कटकामुख सूची चंद्रकला पद्मकोश सर्पशिर मृगशीर्ष सिंहमुख कांगुलश्च अलपद्मक चतुरो भ्रमरश्चैव हंसास्य हंसपक्षक समदंशो मुकुलश्चैव ताम्रचूड Trishulaka. So these are the single hand gestures that we use to show different things. For example, if you want to show a flower and a bee, you will use Alapadma and Brahmara, and you will show the movement of the bee like this. If you want to show a dancing peacock, you will use Mayurahasta to show it. If you want to show a cutter, you will use Ardhapataka for it. If you want to show no to some, if you want to say no to something, you will just use Pataka hand gesture in that. If you want to show a fruit, a type of fruit, you will use Padma Kosha. Like this, we use different hand gestures to depict different things in Bharatanatyam. So before I conclude, I would like to tell you that this class, this course, which is going to be there, is going to introduce you to the basics of Bharatanatyam in the beginning, which will have different adavus and hand gestures like a Sanyukta and Sanyukta hand gestures, and the use of all these hand gestures. After any student completes these adavus, they will go to the next step where they will learn different compositions. In those compositions, there will be musical patterns, melodious patterns, rhythmic patterns, and different body movements are weaved, choreographed on those musical pieces beautifully. So you will start learning compositions like Alaripu, Chatiswaram, Kautukam, Varnam, and so on. So this is going to be the basic roadmap of this whole course, and I hope you will like learning with me on this platform given by Karunamayi Holistic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sanya. It was so wonderfully explained.
Thank
It was
you.
so beautiful. Like I loved all those gestures, the hand gestures. Like
Thank you.
we have Kathak on our platform, and I have seen how beautiful those hand gestures look and how unique they
Right.
are from dance to dance. They look
Absolutely.
so different, so unique, and like but they are all so well designed. Like it's
It's a rich language, though it's a shorthand language. My guru calls it as shorthand language, but it's a rich language. So it says a lot.
because in Kathak, I've heard that the history comes from like how they used to Kathak started as a way to narrate the mythological stories through
Right.
expressions of hands and feet, like
Definitely.
and face. Um,
Definitely.
so
In
Bharatnatyam also has such
in
an
Bharatanatyam also there are mythological stories. Yes, the compositions do have such mythological stories and characters. Nowadays, there are dancers and gurus who have started experimenting with different themes, more contemporary themes, but at the same time, the tradition is still retained. And different mythological stories are depicted in compositions like Varnam Padam, Ashtapadi. The Radha Krishna love is depicted in Ashtapadis. The Bhakti Ras is explored in Bhakti Padams. Uh, so
we
it,
have
it, it has a
is the Tandav from Lord Shiva
right.
variation of Bharatnatyam or some other dance or Odissi or
No, not the tandav is one part of the whole dance. I would say tandav and lasya are the two important components of any dance form. So in Bharatanatyam also you have some movements which are quite inclining, like the movements which are inclining towards tandav, but there are also movements which are more graceful and they are known as the lasya movements. So it's a combination of both, I would say.
Tandav is
And
not
it
necessarily the destruction form only. There is a good
right,
form
there
of
are
Tandav.
different seven, yeah, there are different forms of Tandav also. There is Ananda Tandav, Sandhya Tandav. So they are done, like they are performed at different occasions actually. But in Bharatanatyam Margam, the relevance of Tandav is not directly connected. Only the form depicts, the movements are in such a way where you can see a Tandav, the inclination towards Tandav or Las. So
Okay, because the Lord Shiva's form of Nataraja, and then
absolutely.
that comes from Bharatnatyam. Uh,
Yes, yes, it does.
it
It does.
does. Because then there, because I know that Tandav had other forms, because we know that Lord Shiva and Parvati have uh
A battle in dance.
yeah, they do together a form of Tandav, which is not the destructive but the
Right,
like more happy form of Tandav.
right. Ananda Tandav.
It's beautiful, like how how dance is also a form of pretty much a yoga.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The body is used in such a beautiful way. And it is meditative also. When you're practicing on your own in silence, it gives you a beautiful feeling. No, like you can't replace this feeling with anything else, I would say.
That's so true, because any art is very meditative, because
Absolutely.
one of my sitar teachers used to tell me that some when she was in India and she she used to meet a lot of legendary artists and all, and she
Mm-hmm.
said that one of the legendary, I can't remember the name, one of the legendary singers um, um, at that time came and stayed at her home
Mm-hmm.
in India, and she said that um, when she woke up and she saw him practice early in the morning, and she
Right.
said that it was divine. It felt so transcendental that you would not get that feeling even from seeing that person on stage. Um,
Right.
because at that, I think that is the time when you are creating, is the time when you're transcending. Because to create something, you have to transcend.
It's a conversation with yourself, with your own body, and you're not really, you're not, you're not aware if there
You're
is
not
anyone who is
aware
watching you.
of the world beyond
Anything.
your face
Yeah,
at that
absolutely.
time, and you're like, for sure, like art is a beautiful way to connect
Hmm.
with divine or connect with higher realms of consciousness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
And in a more humanly way, I would like to add that it gives you a lot of confidence. As a young girl, it gave me a lot of confidence. It made me feel beautiful inside out. So it is just precious. It's I think the most precious thing that has happened in my life. I would say.
that's so true,
So
because when I saw you dance, it looked so beautiful. Like it was just
thank
you look totally different when you are
you.
dancing.
Right. Thank you.
There's no doubt about it. It's very beautiful. Like the hands also, like it's so different. Like how in Kathak you would have it like this, in Bharat Natyam
Right.
you have it
Right.
this, uh,
Yes.
and it's it's very nice. And I think dancing is a beautiful way to concentrate your mind, to build
Mhm.
up self confidence, and to connect with divine, and to raise your
It is
consciousness.
also a form of relaxation, body relaxation. Like your body is completely opened up and it moves in a different way. You don't use your body like this in your day to day life. So it
I
helps.
loved it how you said that, that in dance, your body becomes the instrument. So you need to tune it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think that is true for every dance. I've seen the same with Kathak classes going on right now. So she
Right.
would always make the kids do some
Do
exercise.
the warm up.
Uh,
Right.
yeah, no, for sure. So in the 6 month course that you have decided that you would be doing with us,
Right.
you will be teaching the different
Hand gestures.
hand
Yes,
gestures.
single hand gestures, double hand gestures. Then there will be a few verses, Sanskrit verses, which show you how to use different limbs of your body in different way in dance. For example, I will just give you a small example if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So it will, if you're using the head, it is going to be Shirobhedas. For example, Samam Urdhva Adho Mukham Alolitam Dhutam Kampitam cha paravrittam ukshiptam parivahitam. So in different ways you can move your head and you can use that as a language, as part of the language in dance. So there are many verses which show you how to use your body parts in different ways in dance. So those verses, the hand gestures, I'll be teaching in the basics of Bharatanatyam, and the adavus. That's the most important part, where the foot movement is there. The feet will move in different ways, different directions, and it will be like alphabets of the words from the words of Bharatanatyam.
That will be beautiful. So there'll be some performances also, some
Absolutely.
musical performances for the students.
So, right. We can plan different things. We can take different compositions from easy to difficult, and we can choreograph small pieces for the beginners also, not only once they are learning for many years, but in the beginning also we can plan a few
I
exercises
think it
and
keeps
experiment.
kids motivated, when they are doing
Absolutely.
something with the music. For
Right,
sure.
right.
Especially today's kids, they like the little
They
excitement.
want the vibrant music, so
And
it is important.
is it true that like you have to stick yourself to the wall? I understand it's not easy to have that sitting posture. Even in yoga, you sometimes
Mm-hmm.
have to get a support. But do you get
So
to a
in
point
the
where
beginning,
you are?
probably, but not really. I was standing there because there was a wall, but it's not necessary that you stand just to next to the wall. It is not necessary, but for balance, we take different exercises so that they can balance in that specific position. So those exercises will definitely help them to be in that position. I would take those exercises in the beginning parts, the beginning days.
That's beautiful. So I think that would help because, I know that sometimes it's difficult to maintain that posture.
Right,
The one that you were showing, because
right. In
Kathak
the
is all
beginning,
standing.
yes, in the beginning, it might seem a little difficult, but it's fun to do different movements in that posture. So I would suggest the learners to just push through that beginning phase, and then it's really amazing to
I
move
think
in
your
that.
body becomes flexible after a while. Once you take the
Yes, and it
support,
becomes comfortable to
uh,
move.
after a while you let go of the support. So
Correct. So it looks little difficult, but since I have been doing it, I can assure you that it is not that difficult. You can definitely achieve it.
I think that's marvelous. So I
Yeah.
definitely feel this will be a very fantastic class with you. I loved all the things that you were teaching. It was, and I'm sure
Thank you.
there's a lot more. And we have your performances on our YouTube channel also with your
Mhm.
students and
Yes.
yours, so people can watch that
Watch it. Yeah.
and they can come in and listen to this
Join them.
webinar and decide for themselves. It would be an amazing experience, something you don't want to miss. Learning if you are interested in learning classical dances and
Mhm.
boosting up your artistic skills, then learning from Sanya would be a wonderful thing to do. So thank you so much,
Thank you.
Tanya.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Just one last thing. How many years have you been
Mhm.
teaching for?
I have been teaching for more than 10 years now. I think 14 years almost. And I've been learning the form for last 20 years. Since I was in third standard, I started learning it. I was in ninth, like I was 9 years old when I started learning Bharatanatyam.
I
So,
think that's the ideal age to start learning a
mhm.
dance is 5 to 9 or 5 to 10, and you can
Right.
actually your body
It's
builds up the flexibility that way.
yes, and it is easier to adapt at that age. So,
But
but even for the elders, I would say that it's very interesting to explore the body in different ways. So it works for both the
it's
ages.
never too late. It's never too
Right.
late. Like I would
Absolutely.
want to learn classical dances myself.
Mhm.
And I think that this is beautiful because uh, it's it's not restricted to
Any
uh,
age group or
any age
gender, right?
group, any gender, any race, any system. You can learn because it's
Right.
purely uh, artistic experience to learn how to tune your body, how to you know uh,
Explore the movement
new
in
form
yourself.
of movements and how all these geometric movements are there. It can enhance your
Right.
level of concentration. It can enhance your knowledge of
Mhm.
another form of dance, and you can really enjoy the experience uh,
Absolutely.
learning Bharatnatyam. And if you have interest in Indian culture, then there will be even more to learn with different performances of different kinds from Indian art.
Yeah,
So
learning Indian dance will be very much insightful for Indian culture enthusiasts also. So I think those who are interested to know different cultures, I think the course will be good for them too.
for sure. Uh, Thank you so much, Tanya. That's wonderful. And I look forward that people, after watching this webinar, after watching Tanya's other videos, her students' videos, they will come on and register for our classes. And
Right.
these classes will be very flexible. in terms of timing, and we will try to accommodate according to people's time. And it will be a 6-month course, and we will soon be advertising and promoting this course. So definitely we look forward to more.
Me too. Thank you so much for